appearance, and that of her companion was curiously marked. Francis Ledsam conformed in no way to the accepted physical type of his profession. He was over 6 feet in height, broad-shouldered, and powerfully made. His features were cast in a large mold. He was of fair, almost sandy complexion. Even his mouth was more humorous than incisive. His eyes alone, gray and exceedingly magnetic, suggested the gifts which without a doubt lay behind his massive forehead. "I am anxious to avoid any possible mistake," she began. "Your name is Francis Ledsam?" "It is," he admitted. "You are the very successful criminal barrister," she continued, "who has just been paid an extravagant fee to defend Oliver Hilditch?" "I might take exception to the term extravagant," Ledsam observed dryly. "Otherwise your information appears to be singularly correct. I do not know whether you have heard the verdict. If not, you may be interested to know that I succeeded in obtaining the man's acquittal." "I know that you did," the woman replied. "I was in the court when the verdict was brought in. It has since occurred to me that I should like you to understand exactly what you have done, the responsibility you have incurred." Ledsam raised his eyebrows. "Responsibility?" he repeated. "What I have done is simple enough. I have earned a very large fee and won my case." "You have secured the acquittal of Oliver Hilditch," she persisted. "He is by this time a free man. Now I am going to speak to you of that responsibility. I am going to tell you a little about the man who owes his freedom to your eloquence." It was exactly 20 minutes after their entrance into the tea shop when the woman finished her monologue. She began to draw on her gloves again. Before them were 2 untasted cups of tea and an untouched plate of bread and butter. From a corner of the room the waitress was watching them curiously. "Good God!" Francis Ledsam exclaimed at last, suddenly realizing his whereabouts. "Do you mean to affirm solemnly that what you have been telling me is the truth?" The woman continued to button her gloves. "It is the truth," she said. Ledsam sat up and looked around him. He was a little dazed. He had almost the feeling of a man recovering from the influence of some anaesthetic. Before his eyes were still passing visions of terrible deeds, of naked, ugly passion, of man's unscrupulous savagery. During those few minutes he had been transported to New York and Paris, London and Rome. Crimes had been spoken of which made the murder for which Oliver Hilditch had just been tried seem like a trifling indiscretion. Hard though his mentality, sternly matter-of-fact as was his outlook, he was still unable to fully believe in himself, his surroundings, or in this woman who had just dropped a veil over her ashen cheeks. Reason persisted in asserting itself. "But if you knew all this," he demanded, "why on earth didn't you come forward and give evidence?" "Because," she answered calmly, as she rose to her feet, "my evidence would not have been admissible. I am Oliver Hilditch's wife." Chapter 2 of The Evil Shepherd by Phillips Oppenheim. Francis Ledsam arrived at his club, the Sheridan, an hour later than he had anticipated. He nodded to the veteran hall porter, hung up his hat and stick, and climbed the great staircase to the card room, without any distinct recollection of performing any of these simple and reasonable actions. In the card room he exchanged a few greetings with friends, accepted without comment, or without the slightest tinge of gratification, a little chorus of chaffing congratulations upon his latest triumph, and left the room without any inclination to play, although there was a vacant place at his favourite table. From sheer purposelessness he wandered back again into the hall, and here came his first gleam of returning sensation. He came face to face with his most intimate friend, Andrew Wilmore. The latter, who had just hung up his coat and hat,